Hello, YouTubers. Joe Kersey here on Sunday, June 22nd, 2014 at 7:45 in the evening, Eastern Daylight Time. I haven't been here with you for a few days. Paul's been working a very bizarre schedule. He had to work from 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. this morning, and then he had to go in at 10 a.m. this morning, and he got home here just around 6:30 this evening. And it had to do with some guy having to be off, or his family was sick or something, and so he was doing that, and so that went well for him, although it sort of discombobulates, one's physiology and circadian rhythm, such as it is here around here. And so today I read in church at the 10:30 service, and it was, as I had alluded to, I think last week or later, sometime earlier last week, it was going to be our former deacon Roseanne's first service presiding as a priest, which she did today, and went extremely well. And she had there with her, although not to assist her so much, but this individual did read the gospel, a friend of hers who was a priest. But this woman had been a childhood friend, was and is still a childhood friend of hers. They had met when they were 11 up in Northeast Ohio, and this other woman had since become a priest, and then did almost 30 years down in Brazil as a missionary, and came back, did some parish work here in the United States. She's retired now, but it was nice that she could be there with Roseanne at her first true, presiding moment as a priest here at St. Peter's, and that was neat. That was very nice. Charles preached, our rector preached, and he preached on the Genesis 21 story about Hagar being sent out in the wilderness with Ishmael, and how Charles drew parallels between Hagar and Mary and Ishmael and Jesus, in the sense that the story says, God heard the voice of the child. Well, at no point in the narrative does it say Ishmael said this or that to God. We hear Hagar saying stuff to God, but we don't hear Ishmael saying stuff to God. But clearly he was, because it says God heard the voice of the child, and very much like Jesus on the cross. Father, forgive them; they know not what they do. Hagar was watching afar off, waiting for him to die, like Mary watched. So she was watching from the foot of the cross, in John's account anyway. Other women were watching from afar off when Jesus was dying on the cross. He drew some nice parallels. And he was talking about how that ultimately, here's a couple of people that God had chosen his chosen agent Abraham to interact with, and indeed procreate with, and as it turned out, they were outsiders. They became outsiders, and he was talking about how the church really needs to be, if the church is to be truly effective, church, quad church, large C church, is to be effective. It has to be an outsider in society. It can't be accommodating. It can't be, dealing with all this stuff. So, don't cut sweet deals, that sort of thing. So he gave a very good sermon, and I was very pleased and humbled to be able to participate in this service, her first presiding as a priest service. And my judge buddy was with me, and that's always good. So we were really enjoying doing this and participating in this. Two of the parish women, parish individuals, actually, I shouldn't call them. They're women, but they're parish individuals. I mean, made this beautiful chasuble and stole for Roseanne. For the season after Pentecost, that deep green, and that was on the outside, of course, and then the inside was faced with a satin, very, very deep gold satin color, and the motif on the front, rather than being like a butterfly or a bird or a bee or some nonsense trendy thing, it was a very traditional cross, an alpha and omega, cross, alpha and omega, and I thought that was a wonderful selection of images for the front of that chasuble. And then on the stole you had cross, alpha, omega, and then the cross in the back, in the gold material from the back facing part. I mean, so you had this wonderful contrast between the green and the gold and deep gold. Some of the most beautiful liturgical garments I've ever seen, and some of the most serious as opposed to some of the most foolish. I've seen my share of very foolish liturgical garments. I mean, it looks like some sort of dog's breakfast from Sesame Street a lot of times with some of these outfits, and but not these. This set was magnificent, and God bless these two individuals for doing that. So then it fell to me to do the prayers of the people, and the set piece was something from one of the service books of the Church of England. It's, one of these new trendy service books from the Church of England, and that's okay. I mean, as far as it goes, it's okay, but doesn't really allow for sort of extended petitions that the congregation might wish to have offered. And we have sort of a cheat sheet in the back there where people kind of sign in. It's like nominations are now being taken for prayers. When they come in, you can write down who you want prayed for. And I have two set piece prayers I do when I do that. One for the military and one for just people who are being beset by the violence of various conditions. And but what happens is, when I'm sitting there during the sermon and I'm getting ready to go into do the prayers after the Nicene Creed, I'm sitting there praying to God to get me into the right frame of mind to do this, to send the Holy Ghost upon me so that I can do a proper job for Him and the people out there. It's not about me. It's not about me. It's about God. and the people. And when I get in that state of mind, that frame of mind, state of mind's a better phrase than frame of mind. My voice changes. It's a very atavistic thing. I start saying Lord as Laird. I start saying glory as glory. And there's another sort of it's an accent change. I tend to drop into almost a Highlands accent, Scottish Highlands accent, and I think actually that's where my family came from at some point. I think it's a very atavistic throwback thing. And today a couple of people remarked on it. I guess it was fairly pronounced today. And I said, I said, I don't think that's going to change. I said, yeah, because it's not me doing that. It's not me doing that. And I explained that to my judge buddy later. It's not, I'm not doing that consciously. I'm not doing that deliberately. If I weren't in that state, yeah, I'd talk like some sort of accountant in a meeting. Pronounce everything the way everybody wants people to pronounce things. But that's not what's happening up here when you're doing that. It's a very humbling interaction. Thanks be to God. So it was a good day. It was a good day. So came home, and Paul got home here, as I said, here about 6:30, and after I got home, I was trying to download episodes of Last Tango in Halifax from season 1 as thoroughly as I could before they start season 2 here next Sunday, and maybe I won't be able to find them anymore. So that's been sort of my day, and I've been going in and out on the deck too, of course. I'm not sitting in here on my behind totally staring. I mean I'm standing in the doorway sometimes staring. Alrighty, I'm gonna say bye bye now, YouTubers.